Scott, initial thoughts for this weekend?
Well, obviously, tremendously exciting for our players and our program to do it again in St. Paul, and just real proud of them. They stayed and battled and found ways to win games, but I thought we played really well in the whole NCAA tournament, and I thought our strength was our defense down the stretch, and I think that held true in the tournament.
Do you think the X is do you like playing at the X? I'd say now.
I didn't about 3 weeks ago. No, it was awesome. I mean, it was, I thought the atmosphere was great. I mean, it was great to see everyone cheering for us. It wasn't, obviously we had a lot of our fans, but there was a lot of converted fans, which was great. But it felt like a real, home ice advantage.
Was offense almost your best defense in that third period Saturday, the way you were able to possess the puck and make them go 200 feet?
Yeah, I thought we played probably one of our best periods, just for how we needed to play. I think, we didn't beat ourselves at all throughout the game, and I was expecting a little stronger push from Notre Dame, but I thought our guys did a real good job of just playing the game the right way. Offensively, we didn't take too many chances. We controlled pucks. They didn't spend a lot of time in their zone, and I thought defensively, we didn't give them much, and I thought our guys, really played a smart third period.
Scott, what did Jason Herter and Brett Larson mean to this championship? The roles they played in getting this program here?
An awful lot. I'm very fortunate to be around a lot of great people, starting with those guys, but our whole support staff all the way down. And when you have good people, it makes my job a lot easier. They're both great coaches. They're very knowledgeable. They did an outstanding job with our special teams this year, and it wasn't just that. They have a lot of input. Obviously, they're great recruiters. They mean a lot, and certainly, hopefully, they'll be around for a while.
Okay, a year ago, there's different emotions, obviously, than now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this season, after that loss last year, there's so many peaks and valleys that brought you to the point where you are right now?
The funny thing is, I still don't think we've played our best game. But you know what? There's certainly it was unexpected. I think going in, I think we built something where the expectations are to get back to the tournament, and I think the guys that played in the game last year certainly wanted another chance. Especially guys like Carson and Jarrett and Blake, that played. But a lot of those seniors were a part of that. But again, you have a lot of question marks. It's like every year there's always question marks. It wasn't any different 2 years ago. This year was a little bit of the same. We had some inexperience throughout our lineup. I don't want to call them young anymore. I think it was just inexperience, and we needed some things to come together. We needed someone to step up and be real good in net. Shep did that. I thought our young guys on the back end, really grew through the year, and we went through some adversities, which teams do. I think that made us stronger. I think it was just a progression thing in the process, and I talked about that a lot. And as we went into the second half of the year, I thought our guys, when we won some games and got on some runs, we continued to build some confidence, and they built confidence in each other. And I think the biggest thing at the end was trust. I think our guys trusted each other and trusted what we were trying to do as a team, game in and game out, and we ended up getting the job done.
I remember in January I asked you, there was a grind coming up for you guys with the conference play, and you said we've got to make it through this. Do you think that really helped prepare you for this tournament?
I think our whole league does, week in and week out. It's I think a number of coaches have said it. It's like playoff hockey every weekend, but I think our league makes us better, and obviously that was a very important stretch with who we were playing and where we were at coming out of the Christmas break. So to be able to come through there and put a good run together and kind of climb back into, certainly the home ice playoff race was really important for our team.
Scott, going back to Lars and Hertz, maybe start with Hertz. What is it about him you feel that would make him a good head coach at the Division I level?
Well, he's been a head coach. He coached junior hockey. Both of them have, but again, just knowledgeable, very knowledgeable guy. I think he's, again, very passionate. He's the best thing about our staff is we don't like to lose. You know what? And they're competitive that way. But I think he's had a lot of experience. I think hopefully he's learned through being here too. We all learn from each other. That's the great thing, and that's why you got to have good people. But I think just him as a coach and his knowledge and the fact that he's done that in junior hockey, and what he's done here, I think makes him a very viable candidate.
How about for Brett Larson? I feel like he's a guy that connects really well with kids on a personal level. I know Justin Richards brought that up to me when we talked this season.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Again, he was here. I brought him out of pharmaceutical sales to come and coach, and next thing you know, he's a head coach in Sioux City and got some other experiences at Ohio State along the way, got him back here. And obviously for him and for me, it's obviously important because he's an alum. So that's a real good comfort level for him. But he's a good people person. Again, I think has really grown. Because I remember when he came in, he was still learning the ropes. But I think that's the good thing about coaching is he's had some different experiences. He knows what it is to now be a head coach, having done the Sioux City, GM and coach, and I think that's important. When you're looking at moving on and potentially being a head coach, it's a little bit different when you're sitting in that chair versus being an assistant. I think both those guys have had those experiences, so I think that helps as far as moving forward. But I think they're both, they're both great people, and for me, like I said, eventually they're probably going to get something, but I hope they can stay and we can keep doing what we're doing. But you want that for them too. That's what they're in the business for. So if it happens, it happens.
I don't know if it's because we're around them all the time and such, but a little surprised their name isn't. Those two names aren't mentioned more when there's head coaching searches, or maybe they're just names that don't come up in the media and everything, but they're talking about in behind closed doors in the circles. No. Probably, yeah. Shocked. I don't know. But again, we're just Duluth, right? So, two-time national champion Minnesota Duluth.
You have two returning classes who have played in two national championship titles. What does that experience do for your team? I know we're already talking about next year. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I think even last year going there helped. Certainly, we talked to those guys about helping with that, but we didn't get too crazy with that because it's a different experience regardless of what year you're in and how many times you've been there. But it helps to go through that, to know what things are about, just like it helps to go through a college hockey season when you're a freshman. You kind of figure out some things you can't do and you can do, and hopefully you learn from that, just like I think those guys do. But next year will be a hard year too. This year was probably unexpected. Next year it's probably expected, but that's okay. That's where we want the program to be, but we know it's going to be a different year, and we'll manage that there. I'm just taking this in, and we're going to enjoy this as long as we can, and I don't have to worry about getting on the ice for another 6 months.
I read a piece yesterday. It was about, from a player's perspective, about the season ending and how weird it is when you've got the same routines all the time. You're always getting ready for a game, and then all of a sudden it's over. It just ends. How weird is that for a coach? That you just kind of touched on it, the fact that you don't have a game to get ready for 6 months, basically. It's hard.
It's hard. And I've done. I've been lucky to do it a long time, and it's funny because probably about August it starts kicking in. You try and enjoy whatever summer you have, but you're still busy and all that stuff. But when you get in the season, it's very much a routine. It's Sunday you come home, it might be a little bit of an R&R day. Monday you're right back at it, watching tape, preparing, and when that's done, you kind of don't know what to do with yourself for a while. But again, we'll go out and start recruiting. Obviously, we'll have our meetings, but it'll get busy again too, and just preparing for next year. But it's different. It's different because you're so worked up. I don't know. I don't think you ever. For me, I don't think I ever get enough rest during the year. So I'll try and catch up on that and try and relax a little bit. But it's certainly different, and I can imagine the same thing for the players.
So. You touched on question marks earlier. You had a lot of question marks going in this year. Shep grew so much from every press conference I heard you talk about him, and you credit that a lot to Brent. How do you feel about having that piece filled this year?
Good. Couldn't be happy for him. I mean, obviously, both him and Nick sat last year at an exit meeting at the end of the year, and Hunter Miska hadn't signed yet. And so those guys are probably wondering, where is this going to go? And 4 days later, their perspective changed completely. And you could see the excitement in them because they had an opportunity. And that's kind of how we went into the year. We're going to give them both an opportunity. We know we had two guys that have proven they can play, albeit not a lot of games. But we knew they were capable of playing and doing well based on what we saw, the year before. So that's kind of how we went through October. And we didn't know how long it was going to take. I felt it might take till Christmas, or we could go with 2 as long as we needed to. But Shep kind of grabbed that net there in November, and I thought, gained some confidence. The second half, I thought he got better and better. I thought he calmed down in the net. I think Brant had a big part in just helping him along there. But the other guys, Nick and Ben kept working, and that's where I think Brant is great, because I think it's not just the guys that are playing. It's the guys that, when it's hard and they're not playing, to keep making them better. And I think he does a great job with that. He's got a good relationship with them, and certainly really helps in that area. And I think those guys did get better, and they were prepared, as hard as it was if you're not playing. So I think he's been, well, what can I say? I mean, you look at the goalies he's worked with over the years and the improvements that they've made and the numbers they've put up. Only a goalie can do that, because I certainly can't.
Scott, does Brant have a future as more than just a volunteer goalie coach? Is that someone that you would consider if there was an opening?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, he did a little bit of that at Scholastica, and but we'll see. What are you alluding to?
I should say, if you had an opening, or there's still openings at St. Cloud. I mean, just anywhere. Does Brant look like
Until those happen, I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay.
Right. But yes. You know what I mean? He's alum. He's a good person. He's been with our program. He's done an outstanding job in the role he's been in. So, yes, there's a possibility.
We visited Saturday before the game. You talked about wanting that charged environment, how special it was going to feel. Mm-hmm. I talked to Carson and Parker about it earlier today, but how special was that to be a part of on Saturday?
That was great. That was, I thought the one against Michigan was really good, but this was better. And obviously it was even better when we scored the first 2 goals. That place was loud, but just awesome. It was awesome. I mean, certainly the support, obviously our fans. It was a great environment, and I'm glad we could reward them with a win.
What was the week off ice like for you? I know there's so many demands. You had your family there, friends, former players. I mean, how did you balance all that and then focus on 2 hockey games?
Oh, the week? Well, I got annoyed about all the Big Ten questions, number one. Can I say that? But, kudos to them. But no, you know what? Again, probably like I've been lucky to be part of some of those before, so you kind of know. And it's not a lot different than the regional, truthfully. Kind of the process of the daily, you get there, you have your media day, you have your practice, a few more demands. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of a reception, but for me, again, it's not having it too structured for our guys. It's kind of going through a normal routine. I mean, obviously we have a lot of kids from Minnesota, so there's families there, and we allow, go and see them, so we kind of felt, we just followed our normal routine. And my family was back and forth, so I didn't see them very much, but it was nice to have them there. But it was just following your normal, not changing a whole lot, and just letting them enjoy the whole experience. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned as a coach, because it's really important for them to enjoy it and not have it so structured and so, where you got to do so many things. You got to have some free time, and you got to enjoy your families, and you got to, just do what you normally do during the year.
How do you feel about Carson Kuhlman and having him? I mean, he was such a leader this year. You say his name to anybody, and they always have a smile on their face. How do you feel about coaching him and having him be the captain of your team?
I'm going to miss him. Does that say it all, I think? No, he was outstanding. And I've talked about Carson for 4 years. And I think the job he did and Parker this year with our team, and it's funny because we had a lot of conversations Parker wasn't here most of the summer, but Carson and I had conversations. When Parker got here, we had conversations through the early part of the year, and we all had same frustrations. We all had, how can we get through these things? And I think those guys really grew. And the second half, we didn't have a lot of those. You know what? I think those guys kind of learned through the first half how to kind of navigate through that. And I think in the second half, we just let them be our leaders. And if we needed to step in and do anything, they were coming to us. But we didn't have hardly any conversations. Those guys did a great job. They played outstanding. But, Carson's a special kid. And I've said it a number of times. If you had a lot of those guys, your job as a coach is easy. And you know what? It's so great to see him get acknowledged and as the most outstanding player of the tournament, because he was great. He was great for us all year and had an outstanding tournament.
Andrew Carroll would have been pumped to say
yeah, he's up there fist pumping. I know that. No, it's great. It was obviously in the back of our heads. That was a tough time for our program. It was a tough week for just hockey in general, but certainly for our program, and it touched a lot of guys. Obviously we coached him, but there was players on our team like Riley that were really close to him, and when you lose somebody, it's an impact, and you know what, that cloud kind of hung over for a while, but I think our guys played for him. I know some guys probably a little more than others because they knew him, but I know knowing him up there right now watching, he's about as excited as you can get, and probably if he had his gear on, he still probably doesn't have it off.
So when tragedies happen in hockey, the Humboldt is the most recent, you look at, it brings this community together. Do you think that speaks to the uniqueness of the sport of hockey and how people really support one another?
Oh, absolutely. Hockey is a pretty unique world, and it's a very small world, and you see the outpouring of support for what happened up in Saskatchewan, and that's just how the hockey world is. It doesn't really matter. There's people that you might not know, but you'll still get that support, and that's what I love about the hockey world. It seems like everybody knows everybody, and if they don't, somehow they do in any way. But it was certainly a tough, tragic incident, and I know again it affected some of our guys, Blake's talked about it, but we've got a couple other guys too that that it affected, and I don't know what you say. It's nothing you can say that can make it any better, but you just got to give the support and give them their thoughts and prayers.
Besides the championship, how else would you like this team to be remembered? Is there a trait or two in particular that just really stands out about this team?
It's been fun to talk to people about how fun they were to watch. I think that's. I really like Frank Serratori's line about they play free, and I think that's pretty. I think that says a lot. That's kind of how this group was. Sometimes, I don't know if I had them quite figured out, but they found ways and continue to get better. But hopefully, that hardworking team, respectful, humble, fun to watch, and hopefully people are excited about the future, because we did have a lot of young players that. I hope we're going to be back here for a couple more years.
Circling around to tonight, raising that banner. How do you feel about that?
I want to raise the banner against Minnesota next year is what I want to do, but that'll be a fun thing. But no, it'll be great. It'll be great. It'll be a great celebration, and I hope. I think the community's excited. I saw the video about Canal Park. That was kind of cool. But it's good. I hope people are excited. It was a group that proved a lot of people maybe wrong, but you know what? Give credit to our players for getting the job done, because it's not an easy thing, and couldn't be more proud of this team.
Scott, when do you
youth on this team? You kind of, as you said, you let them go, let them make some mistakes. You change your philosophy a bit. Will that affect you next year? These guys grew a lot from the NCAA until now. Can you almost look at it like next year they're going to start it and they still got room to grow?
I don't know if I'll ever change my philosophy, but I've learned to be flexible a little bit. You have to be. And every group's different. Every year's different. You don't know what kind of identity it's going to take on. This one took a little longer, but we kind of knew that going in. I was harder on him in the second half as we got going. First half probably picked my spots a little bit more, but it'll just depend. We'll see. I mean, obviously, we're going to go into the year with very high expectations, and people are going to have high expectations, so that puts a different spin on it. So we'll see how we handle that. So unfortunately, I've gone through that a little bit too as a coach. So doesn't mean I'll press the right buttons, but we'll find out. I think this group will come back hungry, and I think it'll be, again, you weren't here, but I said it's going to be a very hard year, just like every year. It's hard, and it takes on its own kind of identity as the year goes on.
Talk about those 6 seniors and 3 of them that played Saturday night. I was in the runway with the 3 that didn't, and you just sense how excited they were, just like they were. What did those 3 that didn't play, what kind of role did they have on the team? I know Brett Larson talked about they pushed during practice, and how did they fit in?
Well, I mean, I think I said it before. I mean, we have 26 players on our team, and everyone contributed this year. It's how you win. And those guys, I know when we got to that point, sometimes your lineup is fairly set. But all you're asking those guys is to make sure you push guys, you practice hard, and you're ready, because you don't know what's going to happen. And I thought they did. Obviously some of those guys played the AHL at the end, helped them, but they were great. They were great. It's never easy, but you don't win without 26 guys, because a lot of those guys did play key parts during the year, and whether it was injuries or whether guys were missing. And I mean, it's like Sammy playing D for us. I mean, we probably don't tie Dartmouth if he doesn't step in and do that. So there's lots of those things that go along with those guys, but they were good.
Scott, recruiting, you got 6 guys right now planned? 5 signed and 6 total planned for next year?
Right now, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And that number could change depending on early departures and such?
Yeah, might. We'll see. It's always a fun time of the year, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask it, but I know your question usually is you're the last guy to know on this. Any idea on early departures?
No.
on who's coming back, or
No.
haven't had a chance to talk?
All I know is
that?
I think our captain's going to get something in the next couple of days to sign.
As in guys who are for the seniors that are signing from.
Yeah.
Jared.
I haven't talked to him yet.
Okay.
I've talked a little bit with Carson, so there's some things in the works for him. So
I'm guessing he's got some options after the season he's had here. Huh?
he's got some options.
I see U.S. College Hockey Online ranks you number 1 already, so you can get ready for that, right, all summer.
Took us a long time to get there. Tells you what polls being, right?
That's right.
How's the pairwise? Are we, say, at 11 or 12?
I think somebody told me 7.
We were joking about that all the way through. Every win. Did we move up in the pairwise? Did we move up in the pairwise? No, it was fun. Thanks for you guys covering, too. It was great. Hopefully we gave you some fun.
Oh, yeah.